Right now.
All right, great. So this is part two. Let's call this part two of why prints are important. So prints allow us to communicate ideas to people. So as a fabricator, do we need to be able to draw prints? No. I know you're probably thinking, looking at prints, like, wow, do I need to be able to do that? To draw all those lines, to be that precise? No, you don't, because there are people whose whole job is that. In a big company, they'll be draftspeople, or they can be system designers, made their names, but their entire full-time job is going to be just drawing prints. That's it. So you don't want to do someone else's job. Now, for us as fabricators, why we need to draw is because it's going to help us get our job done. When we look at a print, the print just tells us, this is what you need to build. When you're doing all your work, this is what you should have, but it doesn't tell us the steps to get there at all. So being able to draw prints with using the conventions we've looked at with front side, right side, top side, types of lines, all those things, it helps us communicate with other people in the shop, like, hey, I need this made because it's to help me build this other thing. So over the weekend, there's a project I'm working on, which is part of my forge burner, and I wanted to share it with you to show how this stuff actually applies here. How do we use it to help us build something? So the first thing is we'll measure it, okay? So if we're gonna build something, we're gonna measure things, right? We gotta have some standard that we can share with other people. And that goes down to, if you watch the video Origin Precision, way back when, people had to agree on some standard, okay? And it's like a ruler. How big is a foot exactly? A long time ago, there were a lot of different ideas. It took a long time for people to actually agree, saying, all right, anywhere you are in the world, this is a 1 foot ruler, this is 1 inch long, 1 inch wide, and we're all going to agree to trust it. So one of the biggest takeaways for us as professionals is that chain of trust. In Origins of Precision, they talked about, in Washington, D.C., in Paris, there is a 1 meter bar, which is the official meter. It's anywhere in the world, it's okay, this is exactly 1 meter long. And what's cool is, every precision tool that we use as fabricators is calibrated to that meter bar. And there's actually paper to prove it. When you purchase a precision tool, there's a piece of paper that says this has been calibrated against a standard that can be traced all the way back to Washington to that meter bar. What it means is, if I measure something, if I measure this, I say, all right, this is 1.371 inches in diameter, and somebody says, well, how do you know that's true? I can say, well, because this has been calibrated against a known standard. You can trust it. It's trustworthy. If I measure the height of this with this square, this measurement is trustworthy. So everywhere in the shop, businesses we work with can trust that I'm using a precision measuring instrument. Chain of trust. This also means that for us as professionals, when we buy tools, we can no longer just walk into Home Depot or Lowe's and just grab any old carpenter square or whatever and buy it. Those are just not good enough. They aren't calibrated. They aren't trustworthy. So I said, well, what do you measure it with? Oh, that square I bought at the local hardware store. I said, oh, well, we can't use that. It's not trustworthy. It's got to be a tool that is,
So where would you get those kind of tools from?
Good question. So there used to be stores around here, and sadly, as a consequence of these big chain stores taking over, a lot of the smaller precision hardware stores are going out of business. Thankfully, you can go online, and there are lots of stores online that do carry these things. And we'll talk more about this. Just for instance, this is made by a company called Starrett. And Starrett is probably one of America's oldest tool makers. They're in Massachusetts. They've been making precision hand tools by hand, no less, for well over printers.
Starrett.
Yeah. And I mean, their factory has like all these people making these one at a time by hand. These are very precise. They're not cheap either. I mean, these are maybe $120.
Those right there?
Yes. But here's the thing. This will be with you your entire career and willed to your children. These will outlive you. The thing about quality tools is they will outlive you. Many of my tools, like this one, for instance, this tool is actually, this is ancient. I use this a lot. This I got at a tag sale, like probably 20 years ago. This is old then. This is going to
20 years ago?
Oh yeah. This is probably from the 50s or maybe even earlier.
See how you lock that? Can you lock them up to my microphone too?
Oh yeah, right here. Yeah, we'll go through all of these. Yeah, but this tool is probably going through many hands, but it's still a trustworthy, very good tool. This is well made in its time. It will outlast me. I mean, my children will have these tools, so it's well worth the money. And think about it: if you're building, say, $1 million luxury yacht, like at a shipyard I went to on Friday. $120 square is a good value when you're building something worth $1 million, right? I mean, it works out pretty well. So for us as professionals, getting quality tools is a really important thing. We're in a different league now, It's like when you're playing like Little League and you've got the wiffle ball bat and stuff. It's like, no, I'm a professional athlete now. I have to buy like a handmade, custom-turned hickory baseball bat made by, I know it's made by some old guy, like in the woods somewhere. I know there's the one guy who turns them for a lot of professional athletes. He hand makes the bats to order, Same thing. Our tooling is at that level. So we need to get tooling appropriate to our level of our work. So I got the right tools here. Now the problem that I have is this. This is a burner that goes to my forge. Now, the nozzle wore out. So I gotta make a new one. Now I say, all right, well, I gotta make a new nozzle here. How am I gonna do that? So I gotta figure out, well, I gotta make it, and to make it I need to have my parts, I need to measure them. So let's take a look at that. So let me grab some chalk, I'll be right back in a second. We're gonna lay it out on the table here and take a look at what that means. So, I got a couple of pieces here. Let's start with the larger one here, because it'll make it easier to see. So, the forge burner is going to go on the end like that. And what it does is it helps contain the flame, so I can get my forge nice and hot, because even with the knife blanks I have, I got to finish them. I want to finish them for the end of the summer. So, looking at it, say, all right, well, I'm going to draw out what I want to make. I need to make some parts. Now, to do that, I want to draw it out. Because let's say I want to have one of you help me out. If I want to have, say, one of you help me, you would say, all right, what are we making? And do you have a drawing I can follow? So I need to give you a drawing to follow. So the first things first is, I need to make a part that goes in here to hold it in place, because right now it's not going to stay on. So I need to take some measurements. So this piece right here is 1.91 inches. So the outside diameter of this one is 1.91 inches, okay? Right there. And the outside diameter of this one right here is 1.06. So here are the two different sizes, okay? My diameter symbol, my lead line right here, 1.06. And that's for inches right there. So the part I need to make is going to hold this in place. So I'm going to draw this out. So if you remember what we were doing in class with the prints are organized in a certain way. So this is going to be here, so I'm going to draw it out. So here's my cylinder right here. Now it's a cylinder, right? So I need to show that. So how can I show that on here?
Draw
Type of
that.
line.
Draw
And the dashed line is called what?
the hidden
Hidden
line.
line. Yes, that's gonna be right here. My hidden line is gonna be right here, like that, like this.
That's to show that the inside is hollow.
Yes, because I'm showing the wall thickness. The wall thickness is, if I take this, I can actually measure the wall thickness, and it shows me 0.134, the thickness of my wall. So using this, I can measure my length here. I can measure the inside diameter of this. I can measure my outside diameter. You know, this tool enables me to do many different things. This is a digital caliper, the dial calipers. A very useful tool. So in time, you know, you can get your own. Now, huh? Caliper, yeah. Now this one is kind of like my really good one that I pull out when I'm doing really precision work. This one's expensive.
That was a good one.
Huh?
That was a good one.
That's a good one. But I mean, I have this one which I picked up at Harbor Freight. You know, and it works. It still measures pretty well. It's fine. It's not as well made.
Just worn out.
Yeah, it's a little warm, but here's the thing. When I'm a lot of times when I'm fabricating, I'm gonna pull out this one when I'm working in the shop because this one's this is like $25 or something. It's inexpensive enough that I'm not worried if it gets destroyed. This one only comes out when I'm doing like really precise work away from the welding and flying metal, then I pull this one out. So this one, I have like several levels of tools. I'll have like tools, I'm like, all right, I'm not too worried if it gets damaged. I'll like really nice ones that I only pull out when I need them. So this is my shop one, Harbor Freight. And hey, it measures a thousandth as well as that one does. You know, the finish is not as nice, it's a little rougher, it's not as pretty, but it gets the job done. So if you know which tools to get, you don't have to spend tons of money, and you can still do a very, very good job. So this one I pull out when it's dirty. When I'm not too worried. I'm not too worried about being really clean or whatever else. But this one's the good one. So I have my hidden lines. I've got my object lines from my outside. On my nozzle part, it's going to look like this. This nozzle is going to come in over here like that on the interior. This is what it's going to look like that. And then what I need to do is I need to put like a ring over here. I'm going to make a ring like this.
Why the ring?
The ring will enable me to, I'm going to weld a ring onto here, and I can weld down the pipe to keep this thing in place. Otherwise it's going to fall off. So I need to make a ring, yeah.
What about that spot that you already have right there?
This?
Yeah.
That holds it in the forged body. I'll bring the body up and show you. I'll bring it next. And we'll light it up in here so we can see it actually running. That holds it in the body right there. So I need to make a ring. So how big a ring do I need to make? So I know that my outside diameter here is, let me draw it a little better. The ring's gonna look like this. So I know it looks like that, and that my outer diameter is 1.191, and then my inner diameter is 1.06. So I can take this, I can go to the plasma cutter, I can enter my numbers and cut out my part. Now, this is a quick sketch. This is what I wanted to show you. You know, on the shop floor, you may have to do this. You know, you have to explain to somebody like, oh, this is what it looks like, you know, and quickly sketch it out. Now, I'm using all the same rules and knowledge as we're learning in the print. Now, I'm not drawing it. I don't have to draw a really elaborate, complicated print. I don't want to do that. I don't have time. That's not my job. But I want to be able to communicate with you quick information. Like, hey, here's a part I need to make. Here's what it looks like, and then you can look at it and go, oh, I understand. Okay, I can make that for you. So, being able to sketch out quickly when you need to, like even on the back of a napkin, I've done that, on a paper towel, a scrap piece of newspaper, is a very useful thing. So we want to practice that, and we will during our course. So don't feel pressured like you need to be able to do that. That's not your job. Our job as fabricators is to read a print, okay, understand a print, interpret it, and then implement it. And if necessary, we gotta sketch some stuff out. That we can do it using the rules we know. Hidden lines, object lines, leader lines pointing to dimensions, using our proper symbol for diameter here, which I forgot, inches, all the right information. So as we do the print, that's kind of what we're aiming at. And then the examples I'll show you are formal prints, but we want to learn from them. What are the different ways we can explain information so if it comes to somebody asking you, you can draw it out. You can say, hey, here's what I'm talking about. And we can explain it. So that's kind of what I wanted to show you today, something I was working on at home. So I have a stake in this. I want to get my burner running again. I got knives to make. To do that, I need to make this part. So the next step is I'm going to cut the part and show you next class. And let's see if it works. And then we're going to talk about tolerance. Because here's the thing. That ring's got to fit on here, right? So, tolerance is, well, how well does it fit on here? Is this even round? I don't know that. How round is this? I'll let you know, not very. Pipes are not very round. They're usually kind of egg-shaped.
So question.
Sure.
If you're measuring something in foot, you're telling me to grip this, right? Well, I only measure this, that, and that, and not that.
Not this one?
Yeah.
Well, I measured the outside of this, yeah.
Okay.
So I got the outside diameter that's here, and then I got the outside diameter here.
Oh, I thought that was the other one. That one.
No, it's this one. So I'm gonna try.
That one is the big circle around, right?
Yeah, this is the big one. Yeah, this one is the 1.91. Yeah. Now I brought this other piece of pipe just to show you. This is stainless steel. So now let's talk about materials for a second. This is gonna get real hot, right? It's gonna get really hot, like red hot. This is ordinary steel. Now this is stainless steel. It's called 304, this alloy. Stainless steel is much more resistant to temperature. I mean, hey, we use it for cooking pots, right? Much more resistant. So I'm actually gonna make one for this too. I'm gonna test these two out and see which one works better. So I'm gonna make 2 sets and then see, does it work? Is this work okay? It's cheaper. I got more of it. I got stainless. I don't have so much of it. A little more expensive. Will work better. Yeah.
So are you going to put them under high heat before you actually load it?
Well, when I light up the burner, you'll see it gets hot real fast. So we'll see what it actually does. It'll be really cool. And this is about being able to fabricate stuff yourself. This is all made from parts from Home Depot. So all of this burner assembly I made by hand for
That right there?
all of this I made, yeah.
By
it's all
hand?
made from plumbing parts from Home Depot because I wanted to forge knives and I didn't want to pay hundreds of dollars for a burner. So I found plans online and I built it myself.
Oh.
So being able to read prints, to measure, to cut, to weld, you can build stuff that's like, yeah, hey, I'd like to learn how to forge knives, but I can't afford a forge, I can't afford burners. But I have the knowledge to build all that by hand. And then you can do it. So this came from plans. I can share those with you if you want. I can tell you where they are if you're curious. This was under $20 and a few hours of work. And actually, it works very well. This is the 3rd one I built.
I heard some welders doing stuff like that, like
It's a lot of fun.
little stuff like that, and then you flip it into more money.
Yes, exactly. The more skills you have, the more you can communicate those skills, the more of an audience you have for your abilities to market them, to monetize. Yeah, I see your eyebrow. Woo. Yes. I mean, you can do amazing things, but you gotta get the word out. You gotta be able to communicate to people, I can do this for you. I can make this for you. Or somebody says, hey, that's kind of cool, can you show me a sketch? You can use your knowledge in prints, you can draw it out, and show them, here, I can build this for you for this amount of money. And your career starts. But without the ability to communicate that information, it's stuck here and it never gets out. You're an amateur. We are professionals. So we want to aim that way. So this is a real world project I'm engaged in that yes, I really want to have to be successful. And I'll show you the steps as we go. I'll make the plasma cut parts tonight, and next class we'll take a look at them and maybe show you the plasma cutter, how it happened. Because that's a tool that will introduce to you that you can learn how to do. But the manual for the plasma cutter is this thick. You gotta do the reading. Like anything else, you want it, you gotta do the reading, you gotta study, practice. It doesn't come easy. That's it. Boom. Thanks.